A while ago I was given this frame and liked the angles and thought it would make an ideal single-speed beach cruiser bike. The bike will be equipped with a single-speed freewheel in the back and brakes installed, allowing the rider to coast, not to be confused with fixies, where the rider would need to be continually pedaling and generally only equipped with a front brake. A couple of considerations at this stage in the build would be the chain line and gear ratio. For the gear ratio, a target ratio of 2.6 to 3.0 is ideal for most riders. At the lower end of 2.6, and the rider pedaling at 90 RPM would allow a speed of 30 to 34 kilometers per hour. For most riders, a gear ratio of 2.7 to 2.8 is ideal, and the gear ratio is simply calculated by dividing the number of teeth on the front chainring by the rear cogs. So for a gear ratio of 2.7, I'm planning to install a 48-tooth chainring in the front and an 18-tooth freewheel in the rear. For the chain line, the main consideration is to have the chain running parallel to the center of the frame. The easiest way to check if the chain line is close is to sight along the chain from the back of the bike, and as you can see here, I will need to realign the chain line. Chain line is figured out by measuring from the center of the seat tube to the center of the teeth on the front chainring, which in this case is 45 millimeters. The offset in the back needs to be the same as the front and is measured from the rear dropout. So I measure the distance between the rear dropouts, which is 130 millimeters. Divide this measurement by 2, or 65 millimeters, gives me the center of the frame in the back. Next, I subtract the front chainring measurement of 44.5 millimeters from the rear 65 millimeter measurement, meaning the rear cog needs to be at 20.5 millimeters from the dropout. In this case, the cog is at 27.5 millimeters, meaning the hub will need to be moved outward 7.5 millimeters, and the wheel redished to ensure the chain line is parallel with the center of the frame. So through the magic of the internet, I changed the spacers on the axle and redished the wheel, and now have a perfect chain line, as you can see here. Next steps will be to repack the front fork bearings and install the fork. With the fork installed, I will size the chain and install tires on the wheels. With the wheels and chain installed, I'm ready to install the handlebars. Brakes will come next. I have a nice set of linear Tektro brakes and a set of long pull brake levers that will work great on this bike. With the brakes and seat installed, there's not much left to do but find a beach and do some relaxed cruising with this vintage charm bike.